Good stuff. Ah, still good stuff. Yes. Yeah, I understand that. And we're getting ready to go on the air, are we not? All right then. I believe I have 12 seconds of my 30-second nap left, so let me continue. I'm kidding. Good morning, everyone. How are you? It's wonderful to see you this morning. Hello, Don. Hello, Carl. It's great to have you here. It's great to have Don and Carl here. It's great to have everybody tuning in, and I am good old Scotty. For what, I don't know, but I'm good for something to show, I guess. And so this is Just Brewed Cafe. Hey, I'll tell you this. I love coffee. I do. No, I do. I do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Our love for coffee. I remember all the way back to my grandmother. She's the one. Actually, my mother introduced me to coffee years ago. Uh, and I didn't like it. It was Senka, freeze dried. The fact it was caffeine free meant nothing to me. Just what's that? What's caffeine's free? Yay! Whatever. It's freeze dried coffee, and it was bitter. I didn't know it was bitter then. I know it now, but I didn't know it then. All I knew was I didn't like it. All right. Then some months later, I'm over at my grandmother's house. I'd spent the night over there many times before and many times since. Um, sure, we'll just I love her. She's my grandmother. Let's uh, spend time together. Sure, why not? So I asked her one morning, "Is it alright if I have some coffee with you? I just want to have the experience of having coffee with you." She said, "I'll have to clear it with your mother." I'll have to clear it with your mother, but as far as I can tell, it ought to be alright for you to have a taste of it. So, she called my mom, and they had their discussion, and Uh, uh, she got clearance. She got the okay for me to have coffee that morning with Grandma. So she fixed me a cup of black coffee, and I didn't like it. I, I don't think it was so much bitter. Just something was not right. I didn't quite like it. It was okay, but not quite what I was hoping for. Certainly wasn't as bad as what Mom had. The Seika was that bad. But it still was not quite what I had hoped it would be. And then Grandma said, "Oh, okay, all right. Let me fix you your cup the way Grandpa would have it." So what she did was 2 teaspoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of creamer, which back in those days it was Coffee Mate or Coffee Mate or Carnation. That's pretty much all you had the luxury of. Unless milk. What's milk? So, which Carnation is dried milk. And I've had that plenty of times. When we couldn't afford to get the real milk, we had the artificial dried milk. It's not bad. But anyway, so she fixed it up for me. And I had one sip. And then it turned into another sip. And then it turned into another sip. And then it turned into a drink. Grandma called up Mother again. She said, "Well, son of a bitch, I suppose he likes it." and hung up. So, and I said, "More." Grandma said, "No, you've had enough. But I can tell you like coffee." So next time you come over, you can have a cup of coffee with Grandma. So, sure, why not? All right, so next time I'm over here, we have coffee and it turns into more coffee eventually. And fast forward to when I go out on my own for the first time to a place on East 4th Street, an apartment. I lived upstairs. I remember the day very clearly. Because not only did I have my own apartment, I was also able to get my own coffee maker. Oh, was I ready? Was I ready? And I was still drinking temporarily. I was still drinking coffee primarily only in the morning. Just sometimes 2 pots, but at noon I stopped. and because I had heard was you probably want to stop around noon or at least one, because if you have coffee too late, you won't be able to sleep. Well, a few months go by, and this friend of mine is over. She's like, well, what? Would it be alright for me to have some coffee? Sure, I can. I can make some coffee if that's what I want. So I made her some coffee, and yeah, how do you take it? Cream of sugar, 2 and 2. Oh, great! Just like my grandpa would have it. I know how to fix that. Let me get you going. And she said, "Well, aren't you gonna have coffee with me?" She said, "Well, I hadn't. It's late. It's like 3 or 4 in the afternoon." She said, "So, come on, have some coffee with me." So I had some coffee. I had 1 cup. And during this cup, her brother came over to my apartment. And he had some coffee. And the conversation came back to, again, having coffee. And it's like, he said, "Scott, it's real nice having coffee with you." What? So I'm still not picking up on the idea that it's all right to have coffee after in the afternoon, after 12. Of course, I'm already the kind of person that likes to stay up all night and just, you know, do all that stuff. But the idea of having coffee late at night still hadn't occurred to me that it's a good thing. And he said, "Who's hungry? You know what? You want to cook something? Or you want me to cook something?" He said, "No, we're going out." Okay, I can do that. So, and we went to a 24-hour cafe called PJ's. We sat down, and he said, "Scott, the first thing you're going to do is order a cheeseburger and some fries. You can have a Coke as well if you want to. But after that, we are going to have some coffee. Can you do that?" I said, "Yeah, I suppose. Why not?" And so I had cheeseburger and some fries and a Coke, and it was good. And came time for the coffee, and he said, "Okay, we're gonna have some coffee." Terry wants some coffee, and so I want some coffee. Bring some creamer. Sugar's on the table. Um, and so 2 3 hours go by, and after at that point, 2 3 hours have gone by. In addition to coming in and having something to eat in the Coke and the cheeseburger and fries and whatever. 2 3 hours have gone by, and all of a sudden, excuse me, can I have some more coffee? And it dawns on me, I'm having a great time. I'm having a wonderful time, actually. And, and, I turned to my buddy Charles and said, I just realized that I could actually enjoy coffee at this time of the day. This late at night. He said, sure, we're all having coffee. I said, no, you don't know what this means to me. I love coffee, and I didn't know I could enjoy it this late in the evening. And he said, that's what friends are for. You're welcome. And let's we continued our conversation from there. So I didn't know until then that I could actually have coffee in the evening, and it was all right to do that. So, and by now, I'm in bed. Think back on the day, man. I just had coffee with two wonderful friends, and here I am. It's after 10 o'clock at night. And what a day. And I went to sleep. And as soon as I woke up, I called my buddy. So yeah, hey Scott, how you doing? Hey Scotty. You know what? I'm up early in the morning. Well, not early, but it's like I forget what time it was, but it was after. I mean, it wasn't drastically early, but it wasn't late either. So for like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Said, "Oh, did you just get up?" Yeah, yeah. and he came over, and we had coffee. And that was if I remember correctly, this was the middle of the week. It's not like it was the weekend. And I actually had some coffee, and I was enjoying myself. And it's like, yes, I want more. Few weeks go by. By now, I have a girlfriend, his sister, turns out. And we woke up. She said, "Why don't we go to the cafe and have something to eat and have some coffee for breakfast?" And I said, "All right, I can do that." And so before we left, she called her brother, Charles. And she said, "We're going for breakfast at PJ's. Do you want to meet us there?" And he said, "I've already been there once." I've already been there once, but sure, I'll go back and do it again. So he said, "Yeah, I'll meet you there." So we did about round noon. We just no, it was almost noon because we took the bus. So he lived right up the street, which so he was there immediately. We were on the bus, and he said, "What took you so long?" And so, what? So I'm just messing with you. You know I live right up the street. Oh yeah. Dude. So he said, "Yeah, just." And we had some coffee and something to eat for breakfast. And it also turned into something to eat a few hours later. All right, sure, why not? And okay, and some more coffee. And by now, it's like 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And Charles said, "Well, I have a few things to do. But if you'd like to meet here again in a few hours." Hello, that's an invitation. And this is day two. Day two of me having coffee. Well, okay, not two. Just this is my second experience at PJ's. Is what I meant. So I had been back since the first time I was out here a few weeks ago. So here we are. Just amazing people, just wonderful friends. Having and we Kim and I actually went somewhere else to meet someone she knows that live kind of close. And since I got there and sat down, just looking up. So why are you looking at your watch? Just wondering when it's going to be time to meet your brother and have some more coffee. That's what I was thinking about. Was more coffee. Just kept coming back to coffee, coffee. And it was wonderful. It was so wonderful to do that, and I felt like for the first time on that day that I was actually free and could have coffee late at night. And I was telling Charles a few hours later about my experience that I was having with him and how wonderful it feels and how grateful I am. And he says, just wait, one of these days you're going to go home and think, well, I could use some coffee before I go to bed. And we both started laughing, and at that moment, I knew he was right, and from that moment, I knew I was a coffee person. From that moment. I've never questioned it since. Ever. Ever. And it was magical, it was wonderful. It was... And actually, a few days later, he started working at PJ's. And he had actually toyed with the idea of working there before, and it's not like you don't have the hours that I want. Just I'm more of a night person. Just that's what I'm waiting on. I want the 11 to 7 from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. That's the shift that I want. And that's what he was waiting on. And he got it. And worked there for a couple of years like that. Hell yeah, buddy. Bring it on. And on his days off, where was he? At PJ's, having coffee with me. Most days. Yeah. And this was early in my experience from moving in at okay, I moved into my apartment, had my own coffee maker and Maxwell House and uh, sugar and creamer, so I can have it in the mornings when I wanted. A couple of weeks later, I'm out at PT's for the first time. And a few weeks after that, here I am, having a revelation that is actually okay, and I'm a coffee person. All within a few weeks' time, and it was early. It's not even summer yet. Not even summer yet. It's like May something. Could be today. Just, uh, anyway, so that's my experience with coffee from not my early days, but my early days of being on my own and having an apartment, and it's so wonderful to have the experience of a coffee person, a coffee lover, as I am. There's so many wonderful stories that I have. And sorry for the long pause. I'm just remembering things and just patience, boy. Patience. Your time will be here to tell that particular story, and so here I am. And you couldn't have told me if someone had told me the day that after I had a stroke, well, okay, day after I started to remember after having a stroke, after being told to not have any caffeine. Because, which that's interesting. They didn't tell me no coffee. They just said no caffeine. What's that? They didn't tell me it was a drug. They didn't tell me that it was bad for you. They just said no caffeine. I didn't know. I didn't know that it was bad for me. I didn't. I just all I knew was it grows naturally in coffee and tea, and it's added to soda. That's all I knew about caffeine. I didn't know it was a drug. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. And they were telling me no caffeine. Why? Why is it so important that I have no caffeine? Really? Ah! It was an eye opener. I need. Excuse me. I need more coffee. I'll be right back. And here I am, back again, and having a wonderful time reliving some memory. Now, as I was in the process of saying, just a moment. Hi, Kane. I love you, buddy. Um, if someone had told me the day that I was sold no caffeine, actually, no. The day that I decided to go today, 6 years today. No. 3 years today. Because it's May 4th. And this is the day, 3 years ago, that I decided to go no caffeine totally. If somebody told me that day, and don't worry about it, you'll be drinking coffee again in a few years, I wouldn't have believed them. That's better. Okay. I had to take my shirt out of my pants. I feel so much better. Sometimes I wonder why I even took it in. Anyway, there's so many other things before my stroke that I could tell you about Then I'll save for another show. But I guess the important thing is a few things. One, I'm drinking coffee yet again. Two, it's such a privilege to have the memories and experiences with coffee that I have, that I can call on them anytime I want, really, and share them with someone else who may need to hear it or just enjoy hearing it. And it, again, I'm just so amazed and privileged to be back right where I want to be, a coffee person. And that's what I want to leave you with. It's wonderful to be a coffee person. It really is. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'll see you next time. You have a good day. Enjoy your coffee.